Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Shirley, would you call the roll, please?
Cruz.
Here.
Pulaski.
Here.
Ball. Here. Walker.
Here.
Spaggy.
Here.
Machinsky.
Here.
Okay, on the meeting agenda for tonight, under presentations, we have Dursa Marshall with the MRA here tonight. Communications in your packet is an email from Ron Gutowski. Under department and committee reports, we have item A is our monthly report from Operations Services. B is our monthly sewer report. C is the DDA report, but there was your director's report is in your packet, but there was no February meeting, hence no minutes. D is the Planning Commission minutes for the February meeting. E, Board of Review, just met this morning, so there are no minutes in your packet from last month. Personnel Committee has not met. G, Zoning Board of Appeals, those minutes are in your packet. Item H, the Zoning Administrator's report is in your packet. The Elections Commission, I, has not met. And item J, the Fire Department report is in your packet. Item K, the Building and Grounds Committee minutes are in your packet. And L, Peg, no report. Under new business for tonight, item A, we have consideration of approval of a presented fiscal year 2024 budget as discussed at the budget hearing held on February 7th, 2023, and appropriate the millage for the purpose of 3 allocated operating, and also approve corrections as discussed at the hearing, which are as follows: the fire operating, fire FICA and Medicare expense, from $0 to $2,000, and then fire miscellaneous from $11,500 to $9,500. Item B is consideration of approval of Downtown Development Authority budget for fiscal year 2024 as discussed at the budget hearing held on February 7th, 2023, and appropriate millage. Item C is consideration of approval of the presented wages, salaries, charges, and fees resolution for 2023-24. D is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the treasurer's annual salary. Item E is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the clerk's annual salary. Item F, consideration of approval of resolution to establish the supervisor's annual salary. Item G, consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the trustee's annual salary. Item H, consideration of approval to hold the annual spring brush pickup and permission to advertise in the newspaper to seek bids. Item I is consideration of approval for the local revenue sharing board for the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians, the State of Michigan Gambling Compact 2023 Cycle 1 application form for the grant of compact revenues. Item J is consideration of approval for the Manistee Area Leadership Program to install Life Vest loaner station at Magoon Creek Park. Item K, consideration of approval for a request of financial support from the Mason Lake Conservation District in the amount of $927.20 for the Household Hazardous Waste Clean Sweep Collection Day, which will take place in Manistee County on Saturday, August 19th, 2023. Item L is upon supervisor's recommendation, consideration of approval of an appointment to the Downtown Development Authority to serve an expired term ending December 31st, 2024. There was one applicant. It says one applicant and one vacancy. There's actually 2 applicants for that. Item M is consideration of approval of a request for annual support from the Manistee Recreation Association within the requested range of $8,505 and $9,355.50. Item N is consideration of approval in the amount of $27,800 to Wade Trim for Oak Hill Park Master Plan Project. Item O, consideration of approval in the amount of $9,000 to Fleece and Banded Brink for professional services for a Michigan Department of Natural Resources Spark Grant application. Item P is consideration of approval in the amount of $6,591.92 to IT Right for Microsoft Surface Go 3 tablets and Microsoft 365 apps for each. Item Q is consideration of approval to get a survey on the property lines north and south of Sunling Park. And item R is discussion on office security door. If there are no other additions or changes to the agenda for tonight, we need a motion for approval.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Steggy, second by Dean Cruz to approve the meeting agenda for tonight. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On the consent agenda for tonight, we have item A, minutes of the public hearing meeting held on February 7th, 2023. Item B is minutes of the regular meeting held February 7th, 2023. C is the financial report. Item D is approval of the Township General Fund expenditures, including the fire department. Those checks are numbered 40353 through 40421. Accounts payable total $50,057.48. Payroll is $16,131.02, and the grand total is $66,188.50. Item E is approval of water department expenditures, checks numbered 3060 through 3072, and they total $36,413.76. Item F is approval of the sewer operating expenditure checks 1191 through 1192, totaling $654.52. Item G is approval of the monthly ACH payments to the state of Michigan and IRS in the amount of $3,395.45. Item H is approval of the presented 2023-2024 Township Board monthly meeting schedule. Item I, approval to advertise for Zoning Board of Appeals alternate for a 3-year term ending December 31st of 24. Item J is approval to advertise for Downtown Development Authority Committee vacancy, unexpired term ending December 31st of 2024. Item K, approval of a budget amendment to transfer $3,000 from fund balance of the general fund to assessor salaries. Item L is approval of a budget amendment to transfer $2,000 from fund balance of the general fund to clerk salaries. Item M is approval of a budget amendment to transfer $3,000 from the fund balance of the general fund to streetlights. Item N is approval of Master Citizen Planner members to attend the 2023 Master Citizen Planner live webinar series offered at a cost of $60. Item O is approval of a request from the United Veterans Council to purchase veterans' grave flags at a cost of $300 to be used in cemeteries in Filer Township. And item P is approval to advertise for Downtown Development Authority Committee vacancy, unexpired term ending December 31st of 2025. Again, if there are no changes to the consent agenda, I would entertain a motion for approval.
I'll make the motion. I'll support.
Motion by Kalinowski, support by Hachinsky to approve the consent agenda for tonight. Discussion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Motion carried. Public comment. Any public comment tonight? Okay. Then under presentations, Dursa, you're up. If you'd like to go to the podium, please.
All right. Thank you for having me. I'm going to just do an annual review of what's been going on at the MRA. I did send Shirley the funding formula for the appropriation this year as well. So last year, 2022, was our 80th year of activity. I don't think the group in 1942 ever thought we'd still be here in 80 years later, but I'm glad we are. So I gave you a packet of what I'm going to go through. So I'm going to start with the 2022 programs. We had 1,107 registrations total for last year. We're overall a little bit up from the year before with 654 participants. Filer Township had 150 registrations and 87 participants. We did baseball last year with 188 players. That's kindergarten through 7th grade. Basketball last year, 190 players, and that's first through 6th grade. We did a Falling for Fitness program. That's to introduce kids to some fitness components and running. We had a small but mighty group. We only had 9 runners, and they were 3rd through 5th grade. We had 51 flag football players, and that's 1st and 2nd grade. Our MRA soccer is our biggest program. You can see spring of last year we had 295 players. In the fall we had 164, and that is for pre-K or 3 and 4 year olds up to 5th graders. We have a club soccer, and that is our travel league that we go through Great Lakes co-ed soccer league. We had 37 for last spring and rostered 48 for this past fall. We did 2 swim programs. We had one in the winter with 42, and this fall we maxed out our slots at 48, and those were ages 5 through 12. We did a co-op with Crystal Mountain, as we do every year, and we had about 60 skiers and 8 chaperones. We did a small tennis camp about 4 days long this summer, and we had 35 players, and that was kindergarten through 8th grade. Throughout last year, we offer scholarships. Our belief is we don't want anyone to not participate because they can't afford it. We had 14 scholarships last year, totaling $705. I believe Filer had 3 scholarships. We couldn't be here without the involvement of the community. We collaborate with the City of Manistee. That's where most of our activities happen. Crystal Mountain, obviously, we wouldn't have our ski program without them. Manistee, Bear Lake, and Onekama schools, we utilize their fields and gyms. The Payne Aquatic Center is where we have our swim lessons. We had 16 community sponsors help us out last year, and close to 100 volunteers just making our programs happen. We also had our annual Charles E. Shadle Outstanding Service Awards. That's an annual event. We held that with our annual meeting in February. The individual recipient was Bill Edmondson. He's a 4th grade teacher at Kennedy, and he's been coaching MRA sports for nearly a decade for us. Very dedicated, good coach. Everybody likes him. So he was our individual recipient. And then we awarded the City of Manistee DPW / Parks Department. Because honestly, if they didn't upkeep our fields, we wouldn't have soccer to happen, and just their general help with everything. So, and looking ahead, we worked on a strategic plan this past year. We did a community engagement survey throughout the summer and part of the fall. And then myself and our board met for 3 months this fall and worked on the strategic plan. We had our final draft done the end of February, and we look to adopt the strategic plan in our next meeting in a couple weeks. I wrote a Minker grant for the fall, which will help with replacement and upgrading of equipment, so we're excited about that. And then we're just looking for new programs. We know we need to do a better job with adult recreation, so we're looking at ways to do that. And some of the things that came out in the community engagement was having more sports camps or clinics, kind of smaller versions of seasons, and we're looking to see how we can accommodate that. So, and that has been it.
Thank you, Dursa.
Any
Anyone
questions?
have any questions of Dursa? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, again, under communications, you have in your packet a letter from Ron Kotowski. Going to department and committee reports, again.
Public comment. Did I miss it?
Yeah, we might ask for public comment, yeah. Item A is your monthly report from Operations Services. And if you read the notes in there, they have finally gotten things squared away with the altitude valve here on our well 2 and water tower. Item B is the sewer report, monthly report from the city, the monthly usage. Item C is Tamara's report. And again, there was no February DDA meeting, so there's no minutes in your packet. Item D is the Planning Commission minutes from the regular meeting of February 21st. No board of review or personnel committee. Item G is the ZBA minutes from the February 15th hearing. And then G in your packet is H is Larry's report. Zoning administrator's report is in your packet. Item J, the fire department, Jim's report is in your packet. Is there anything you wanted to add to your report, Jim?
Just that the grant that we applied for from the revenue sharing board for the $6,600 for the trailer that hooks, the piece of equipment that hooks to the back of our Ranger, that arrived this week. We'll be putting it into service on next Monday. So I gave Shirley the bill because they didn't want any money until after it was delivered. So
Okay.
they delivered it this week.
Okay, thank you. K, Building and Grounds Committee, those minutes from the February 27th meeting are in your packet. And that takes us to new business. Item A, you have consideration of approval of the presented fiscal year 2024 budget, which was discussed at the budget hearing February 7th, and appropriate the millage for the purpose of 3 mills allocated for operating and approved collections as discussed at the hearing, which are as follows: fire operating and fire FICA and Medicare expense from $0 to $2,000. The fire miscellaneous from $11,500 to $9,500. Those 2 changes need to be made to the budget that was presented on February 7th. So with that, with those changes, not aware of any other changes, I would entertain a motion for approval of that budget.
I so move.
I'll second.
Motion by Dean Cruz, seconded by Steggy to approve the fiscal year 2024 budget as presented. Any discussion? Shirley, you want to do a roll call on that, please?
Ball, yes. Steggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Kalinowski.
Yes.
And item B is consideration of approval of the DDA budget for the fiscal year 2024 as discussed at the budget hearing on February 7th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the DDA budget.
I'll second it.
Motion by Hachinsky, second by Kalinowski to approve the DDA budget for fiscal year 2024 as presented. Any discussion? Okay, again, Shirley, roll call.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Kalinowski.
Yes.
Item C is consideration of approval of the presented wages, salaries, charges, and fees resolution for 2023-2024 as presented in your packet. And I'll make a motion that we approve the presented wages, salaries, charges, and fees resolution for 2023-24.
I will second.
Motion by Walker, second by Steggy to approve the presented wages, salaries, charges, and fees resolution for 2023-24. Any discussion? Okay. Shirley?
Steggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Kalinowski,
Yes.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes. Item D is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the treasurer's annual salary.
I'll make a motion.
I'll support it.
Motion by Kalinowski, second by Hachinsky to approve the resolution establishing the treasurer's annual salary. Any discussion? Ready?
Yep.
Shirley?
Walker,
Yes.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Kalinowski,
Yes.
Item E is consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the clerk's annual salary. And I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Motion by Walker, second by Hachinsky to approve a resolution to establish the clerk's annual salary. Any discussion again? Ready? Go ahead,
Walker,
Shirley. Yes.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Kalinowski,
Yes.
Item F is a consideration of approval of a resolution to establish the supervisor's annual salary.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support it.
Motion by Steggy, second by Hachinsky to approve a resolution establishing the supervisor's annual salary. Again, any discussion? Hearing none, go ahead, Shirley, when you're ready.
Walker,
Yes.
Baczynski,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes. Kalinowski,
Yes.
Item G is consideration of approval of a resolution establishing the trustees' annual salary. And I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Walker, second by Dean Cruz to approve a resolution to establish the trustees' annual salary. Any discussion? Shirley, when ready, go ahead.
Walker,
Yes.
Paczynski,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Paul, yes, Kalinowski.
Yes.
Item H is consideration of approval to hold the annual spring brush pickup and permission to advertise in the newspaper to seek bids.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Okay, motion by Steggy, second by Dean Cruz to approve the annual brush pickup and also permission to advertise in the newspaper seeking bids. And I'm looking at probably, we'll announce it later, but I'm guessing probably starting May 8th, roughly. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item I is consideration of approval for a local revenue sharing board for the Little River Band of Ottawa Indians, State of Michigan, Gaming Compact 2023, Cycle 1 application form for the grant of compact revenues. And that, you have that in your packet for a automated CPR device.
I'll make the motion. I'll second.
Motion by Kalinowski, second by Dean Cruz to approve the submission of the Local Revenue Sharing Board grant application for the automated CPR device. Any discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item J is consideration of approval for the Manistee Area Leadership Program to install a Life Vest loaner station at Lagoon Creek Park.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second the motion. So we got a motion by Dean Cruz, second by Walker to approve the Manistee Area Leadership Program's installation of a Life Vest loaner station at Lagoon Creek Park.
Mike, can you get me an updated agreement with
Yeah, I thought I sent you one.
I didn't get it. I noticed very late in the day today. So we need to have Filer put up at the top of that agreement and Manistee Township taken out.
Yeah, it was on the second page. Yeah.
And along with that clause at the end.
Yep, I edited it and I can just resend it to you. I might be able to do it now.
Yeah, Mike and I emailed back and forth today too, and about the sentence that we wanted added. So, so I think we're all set on that. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item K is consideration of approval for a request of financial support from the Mason Lake Conservation District in the amount of $927.20 for the Household Hazardous Waste Clean Sweep Collection Day, which will take place in Manistee County on Saturday, August 19th, 2023.
I'll make the motion. I'll second it.
Motion by Kalinowski, second by Dean Cruz to approve the report, or the request rather, for financial support in the amount of $927.20 for the Mason Lake Conservation District Hazardous Waste Clean Sweep Collection Day. Any discussion on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item L, upon supervisor's recommendation, consideration of approval of an appointment to the Downtown Development Authority to serve an expired term ending December 31st, 2024. There's one vacancy, 2 applicants, and I would like to recommend the new owner of the Days Inn, Bhavik Patel.
I'll move that we appoint.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second.
Motion by Hachinsky, second by Stege, to approve the supervisor's recommendation of the appointment of Bhavik Patel to the DDA for non-expired term ending December 31st of 2024. Item M.
We need to vote.
Oh, I'm sorry. Good catch. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Item M is consideration of approval of a request for annual support from the Manistee Recreation Association within the requested range of $8,505 and $9,355.55.
Last year it was $10,000. We paid $2,500 quarterly.
And 10,000 even, you said, Shirley? So the requested amount this year is a little bit less than that. I guess I would like to make a motion to approve the request for annual support to the MRA in the amount of $9,355.50.
I'll second it.
Motion by Walker, second by Dean Cruz, to approve a request for annual support to the MRA in the amount of $9,355.20. Any discussion? Shirley, you want to do a roll call on that, please?
Walker,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Stege,
Yes.
Kalinowski,
Yes.
Pachinsky,
Yes.
Ball, yes.
Okay, item N is consideration of approval in the amount of $27,800 to Wade Trim for Oak Hill Park Master Plan Project. And you have in your packet their proposal, and then actually item O, you also have in your packet the proposal. You should have, I don't have it in mine, a proposal from Fleece and Vandenbrink. But that's for the Oak Hill Park project that we've been talking about for a couple of years and applied for a DNR passport grant. I believe that was 2019. And we were not successful with that. And then
They're together.
they're together.
They're not
Okay.
together, but they're tight together.
Okay. Anyway, then oh yeah, minor stuff. We were not successful in that, and then we were going to go for it. COVID hit, And then we weren't eligible to apply because our township rec plan had expired, needed to be redone, and so we had that redone, and that was submitted last year to the DNR, so we are now again eligible to apply for funding with the either the trust fund or the passport grant with the DNR. And then of course we've also talked about the Spark grant. Whichever of these we approve, and Wade Trims, if you read through it all the way, they're really looking at a 2024 project with application in the April of 24 for a DNR grant. The passport grant, the next round for those grants will be this summer. They have not yet designated a date for those, so we don't know when that's going to be for sure. To go after that, we're going to be a little bit under the gun, probably, to get everything done that we want to get done. It's in the outline here. So I think that's probably the primary reason that Wade Trim was looking at the DNR grant and looking at a 2024 grant. Additionally, I know the Spark grant, this last round, from everything that I've heard from everyone, was extremely competitive. I forget the total amount allocated for that round of grants, but there were a lot of applications. It was highly competitive. A lot of municipalities were not successful. So that's, hopefully you've studied over the two proposals carefully. We've had quite a bit of discussion of those, and I say we, subcommittee that we set up with Don Cook from the Planning Commission, Ron Gutelsky from Building and Grounds, Tom from the Township Board here, and then myself. We've had a lot of discussions on those, and it's pretty obvious when you look at the two. There's an obvious price difference in the two, but there's also an obvious difference in the scope of work and preparation in going after those grants. So I guess if you have other questions, or Tom, if you want to add to that, feel free.
Surely, some of the work that Wade Trim is willing to do, will that help us on our county, on our township master plan?
I didn't look at the master plan and compare it to any of this, but I think we got the recreation plan, which kind of is even probably a better tool than the master plan.
Yeah,
He's calling it a master plan because he's kind of
it's a park master plan.
fashioning it after how a master plan would be. There would be meetings and people would come and say, well, what do they want to do with that area there? We're probably a little bit beyond that. Because we've talked already about pickleball courts and I don't know that we want to...
Yeah, that is in our rec plan.
Yeah. The master plan that the planners would create would be just more broad than that, because it would say, yes, we want recreation, but pretty much they don't elaborate. Your recreation plan would compare that.
Yeah, the master plan does touch on recreation, but it's not as detailed, as in-depth as our rec plan is. Because our rec plan is focused totally on recreation in the township.
So do you want to go for both of them?
No.
No,
It's
One or the other.
one or the other.
If you'll read the East Vandermeer got the same thing, but there's some extras, and I'm sure we could trim that, Wade trim down if we want to stay with Wade trim he's been our guy for pretty much our sewer system and everything, so.
And I did speak with Scott Lusenheimer today, and if you recall, he's the one that kind of led the township through the 31 corridor improvement plan. I think that was in 2013. But I spoke with Scott today about some of the items on here and the price points, and I know on the committee, we've had some discussion about that. John Cook and I had a pretty lengthy discussion about that, and I put it to Scott, about the possibility of, before we start all this, doing a conference call with our subcommittee with him and talk about some of these things that some of us feel can probably be pared down somewhat.
I think that's a good idea.
You
And more
want to
information too.
go back to him and have it requoted with the pared down version?
Yeah, I told him, I said we can either, I told him it was on the agenda for tonight, and I said the board may decide to ask to revisit some of those figures and do that. I said, if we did that, then it wouldn't be ready for approval until the April board meeting unless we called a special meeting to do that.
Which we may have to do by the end of March anyway because of budget adjustments.
And he did say that he could work with that. It would put a little bit more of a time crunch on to get, go through all aspects of that plan and get it done, but I don't see why we can't. I think it's definitely doable, and he was open to meeting with the four of us, and I didn't say anything to you about it, Tom, but after my discussion with him today, and I know I talked with you around the time of the last board meeting when we were setting up this committee, I talked to you about the interest of being on it or not, and today after my discussions with Scott and talking with Don Cook and that, it might be good to have a money man involved in it. In the townships we have these discussions, so I'm going to throw that out there and ask if you want to sit in, if we do a conference call, sit in and also represent the board, and in addition to Tom and I.
I can.
We can talk more about it, but I just today I thought it might be a good idea to have you sit in on it as well. So what's the pleasure of the board with these proposals? I guess maybe that's a two-part question. Which way do you want to go, and how do you want to proceed? If you wish to go with Wade Trim, do you want to try to have us set something up and take a look at these, the scope of services here, and see what we can pare down there, what's not going to be absolutely necessary. Some of it, when I read it, it rings of I think a larger township, a larger park. And I know they do a lot of these. In a virtual meeting we had with them, they shared with us park they had done. Where was that town? It was up near Maple City Glen Lake, wasn't it? Up in that area somewhere. And they showed us some of the work they'd done there. It was amazing. But again, a much larger park than what we're dealing with here.
Doesn't this grant gotta get in pretty quick for us?
If we go for the DNR grants, the next round would be for next year. Actually, April 1st is the deadline for application, and there's no way that, you know, I mean, if they go to work right now on this, they're not going to be ready to submit by April 1st. So we'd be looking at next year. If we want to go for the Spark grants, the second round of Spark grants, which will be sometime this summer, it's going to be a big hustle, even to get that in, I think. And I think if we're going to do this, I would rather, you know, initially I was all fired up to try and get this done this year, but I think it would be wiser to take our time and develop a really good project, make sure we got, you know, all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, and get everything that get all the public input that we want and everything else, and do it right. And take the additional time to do that. That's my thought.
Instead of picking either of these companies, how would it work if we put a motion on the floor and put a dollar amount to spend and get approval on that, and then let the board pick if we can get it down, have a reasonable expense?
If you don't know what you're going to take out, then it's hard to come up with a number.
Yeah, that'd be a little bit hard because they're, you know, without sharing each other's proposals, you know.
Well, I know
Police
on
doesn't
Big
have-
Trims, some of those meetings, some of those gatherings that are $1,300 and $1,400, we did it all before, and it really doesn't work out for other projects years ago.
Well, I'm thinking the last one we did, Tom, that we did that with the Magoon Creek project, and my recollection is we had 2 public hearings on that, and as a result of the first public hearing, we had a lot of input, and we actually, you know, we found out some things that our constituents did not want done in that park. And so then our plan got adjusted from what it originally was to what it ended up. And had we not had those public hearings and gathered that input, you know, we wouldn't have known that.
And that could happen here, because it's a very tight-knit residential district.
Well, that's the other thing. This is, a residential neighborhood. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, and that's an idea. I just don't know how we're going to get, get a comparison apples to apples between the two. I think maybe what we could do is go back and say, be much more specific. Look, this is exactly what we want to do. This is what we expect in your proposal. This is what we want it to cover. This is what we want as a end result.
And give it back to them. Give them a detailed outline of what you want them to quote on.
But there's going to be things that, this is just for, the initial plan. Once everything's done, the plan is finalized, and then there has to be construction bids and all that sort of thing, for the different components that we're looking at. In terms of the, pickleball courts, pavilion, etc. And we don't know, we won't know where those are going to come in at. Any other thoughts? Ideas?
I think we should stick with wage trim if we can.
Why?
I don't know. I just do.
Well, and that, that's come up in our committee discussions that, they're familiar with the township. They've done a fair amount of work for us in the township. both with our water system and with our sewer system. And yeah,
But I do think this needs to be scaled back
yeah.
on some of this stuff. Some of the stuff I think is, I don't know, some of it's not necessary.
Yeah. Well, why, if you, any thoughts that you have along those lines, why don't you go ahead and mark up what you have in your packet, where you think things can be scaled back, what you would like to see in there. If there's things that aren't covered in there, make note of that, and then get them to me, and we can sit down, the committee can sit down, and we can hash it out, look at it, and then set up a phone conference and see what we can do. How does that sound?
Sounds good?
Tom?
Well, it doesn't really spell out exactly what they're looking to, too much of what they're looking to do in here. So,
Well, the elements are in there that we want, but there are some elements in there too that I think we have to, reevaluate, like lighting. One thing that isn't in there that we've talked about that's come up in discussion since our initial discussions with them would be restrooms, availability of restrooms for people. So, that's got the, I guess, the components in it that what we went for in 2019 when we went for the passport grant. That's what we were looking at that time. Anything else? Any other ideas, suggestions? Okay, if you will each take those proposals then, either one of them really, and mark it up and tell us what's got to go, what needs to be added, what can be refined. And then if you can get that to me in the next 4, 5, 6 days, I'll get back together with the subcommittee, we'll look at it, and then we'll set up a conference call. Does that sound all right? Yeah. Okay. Moving on to item P, it's consideration of approval in the amount of $6,591.92 to IT Right for Microsoft's Surface Go 3 tablets and Microsoft 365 apps for each tablet in the amount of $6,591.92. And you've got that quote in your packet.
These would be the tablets for the electronic packet that you wanted us to run down and get you prices on.
To do away with all of this.
Paper. Tammy would have to work with IT Right to be able to understand how to do this, and then your packets will be coming on your new tablet. Now, if we're going to go with this, we have to get a tech policy written up, but I didn't want us to have Richard think about drawing something like that up if we weren't going to do it. Spend the money there if we decided, after we looked at this, we didn't want to go for it.
And we got a couple samples of that, so.
I got one from MTA that's probably the best, more tailored to us.
So do we want to make the jump from paper to tablets? A lot of, I'm seeing in MT chat room, a lot of discussion, there's municipalities out there that are going that direction and have already gone that direction. But there's a lot of them still doing the paper.
Yes, I'll make the motion to approve this.
Is there a second to Tom's motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Steggy, second by Dean Cruz to approve the IT Right proposal for Microsoft Surface Go 3 tablets and Microsoft 365 apps for each in the amount of $6,591.92. Any other discussion, further discussion?
Did I not hear in the discussion that we could buy them tablets for a lot less money?
Oh, you have no idea how many tablets we looked at. We looked at iPads, we looked at cheaper than this. You have to have something that our tech people can help Tammy with if we have an issue. And this is the one that they are recommending, these Microsoft Go 3 tablets.
How long of a contract do we have to sign with them?
With IT Right? Well, there are the people that normally help us with our computer issues now.
Okay, so
I think we have like an annual contract with them.
So
And
this
this will just become part of it. And, you know, when you renew your contract next year, you know, I'm sure there'll be some additional amount to take care of these.
So this is going to buy 7 tablets?
Eight.
Eight tablets.
Okay.
One for each board member and one for in here.
And the software to go with it, and
That's your Microsoft 365 app.
it's all compatible with everything we've got.
Yeah. I hope.
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. We
Yeah,
looked at many of them.
There were some less expensive ones, Tom, but then when they pointed out some of the issues with them, I don't think we want to go there for the cost savings. Board meetings might become
No, we don't need to buy
over
the
challenging.
It's not going to benefit me. I'm here every day. It's not going to benefit Tom. They're probably not even Terry. I don't know if he'll use it here at night. Do you think you will, or will you have your paper? No, I'll have my paper.
What, on board meeting night?
board
No, I would probably use it during board meetings, yeah.
But we're here, you know, so we have this stuff in front of us. It would be you trustees, you know, that aren't here every day that would benefit.
We're still going to have 1 or 2 hard copies of whatever takes
Oh,
place.
I have to have hard copies
But,
for my records.
We have a lot of waste in paper.
Yeah.
But we figured it out.
A lot of waste.
And we figured that we got 27 years worth of, before we get to where this would benefit us over the paper that we use.
Really, you guys figured that out?
Yeah,
Wow. Was that figuring just paper costs or
Yep.
copy machine costs
No,
too?
paper.
Well, you start throwing in copy machine costs.
All right, knock a year off.
Ink and the, you know, cost of a machine. Yeah.
We only do it one time a month, so it isn't, you know, that much.
But the volume is much, that one time a month. So, any other discussion? Okay, and I forget now who made the motion, Tom?
Stevie and Cruz.
Second by Dean. Okay, so everybody ready to vote?
Yep,
Okay, Shirley, go ahead.
Stevie,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Ball, yes, Kalinowski,
Yes.
Pachinsky,
Yes.
Walker.
Yes. Okay, item Q is consideration of approval to get a survey on the property lines north and south of Sunling Park. And the rationale for that is that at our last building and grounds meeting a couple of Mondays ago, we've been discussing getting the entrance to Lagoon Creek Park paved, and then the entrance to Sunling Park as well as the parking area itself paved. We have that graded several times a year for potholes and whatnot. And so Mika Wojcik's grade that, at least twice a year, if not more. So we looked at getting it paved, and we got, at the last meeting, they had quotes for the paving, and I'm sitting there looking at my Onyx map on my phone, and I said, whoa, wait a minute. Because it came up in the discussion about the north boundary with the property owner on the north driveway that there's two drives that go in and then come together to become one drive, two different parcels there, but the parcel immediately on the north side, I think we got to be careful that, because there was concerns about the grade there and, doing the asphalt. And so I pulled up my map and I was looking at it, and I said, if there's going to be issues with grade there and how we're going to deal with that, we're going to have to find out and make sure where our property line is there, because on my Onyx map, it doesn't look too bad on the north, but when I looked at the south, there's a lot of discrepancy there. It looks like our parking area for Sunling is actually over the property line and on the property owner to the south on his property. And so we said, we're not going to start putting asphalt down, if it's not going to be on township property. So I said, I think before we send that proposal to the board for asphalt, we better get that surveyed. So I did call Spicer and asked, about that, and they said, yeah, we could do that. And I said, are we looking at something in the neighborhood of $1,500 to $2,000 to have a survey done? He said, yeah, that should cover it. So I really think we need to do that, I guess, just to know where we're at there, and then especially if we're going to look at paving that entrance from the retaining wall out to the Red Apple, and then at Sunling, the actual parking inside the stone wall. Magoon's not an issue there. There's no issue there with where the property lines are, but Sunling definitely. So that's the reason I put that on the agenda for approval, to get that survey so we know what our boundaries are.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and get a survey done on that.
I'll support it.
So we have a motion by Kolonowski and second by Hachinsky. Any discussion on that?
Now, is this going to be from Spicer?
Spicer was the one I called simply because we've used them so much for our surveys of our...
That's who you're intending to call?
I'm intending to, yeah.
Do we want to have a not to exceed dollar value?
If you'd like to put that in there, that's fine with me.
2,000?
I think that should do it. So the motion is to request a survey from Spicer for the property lines on our Sunling Park parcel, both the north and south parcel, not to exceed $2,000. Is that right?
Sounds good.
Okay. Any discussion? You want to do one more roll call tonight, Shirley?
Ball, yes. Kalinowski,
Yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Dean Cruz,
Yes.
Steggy,
Yes.
Pachinsky.
Yes.
Okay, item R is discussion on an office security door, and
Pictures.
Yeah, that was in the packet, wasn't it? Yeah, you put
Pictures
it.
were in the packet?
Yeah, yep.
You got 3 pictures?
No, just one. You got more?
Yeah,
Okay.
you got more.
I need to borrow Dean's knee.
We don't have prices.
What did you do with your old one?
If you want his old one, you've got to be in bad shape. We don't have prices for this. I did call Granger, and they gave me some companies to call that do these kinds of things. And then I don't know that you can buy from these companies. They probably have to go through somebody like Granger, but this is what the thinking was.
Is this to replace the little tarp
Yeah,
that goes there?
yeah.
And that one that's in our packet, I'm going to assume that's not a bulletproof glass on
Well, I
that
don't
one?
know if any of, oh, this
Well,
one is.
the one you just gave us, it says bulletproof.
No, these are just pictures, unless somebody has a better idea than this, you know?
And where is this gonna go?
You know, up by the entrance way.
Well, the
Second
where the
door.
car usually goes.
Yeah,
I thought it was going on your door.
no. This will keep people from wandering in here when we don't have when we're occupied doing other things.
It's either a door or you get surely a shotgun.
A double barrel.
No, there is a problem with that. Anybody can walk in.
I have no idea what the cost is. We haven't had that much time to devote to this yet.
Looks like a pretty good idea. What, they put a whole new door in?
I suppose.
Probably would have to.
How much do these run?
I have no idea.
I think it's your intention to put the thought in the minds to begin thinking about this, and possibilities of this. and
Unless somebody has
explore.
some other idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Why are you smirking? What are you thinking? You bought that double gauge shotgun?
No comment in these days.
It is a crazy world we're living in today. There's no doubt about it. And
Because you don't know who's going to come through there.
I'd say get some prices and then pick one out that you guys like.
I would hope we could find somebody that can come and talk to us.
Do they have any of these in any other city or county, you know?
Not
And
like,
they have big windows in there.
yeah, windows, but that would be the most ideal thing for our application, I think.
so we're going to talk about the ones at the county building and the clerk's office. I think that's bulletproof, isn't it?
Yeah, they have a little, we're installing a magnetic lock on our doors. So, but they're not bulletproof. The glass is, but the walls aren't. So you
Yeah, okay.
can shoot through the walls, but.
Have you done any looking into these kinds of
Yeah,
things?
the county just recently, if you watched like the last county boardroom, they got a bid out for, I think about $6,000 to install 3 magnetic locks, and we buzz people in. And when they come up to the door, we can buzz them in then. And so our secretary is looking at bulletproof glass, and then she has a switch where she can buzz them in right or left of the doors. But yeah, that's all magnetic locking, and then we're doing one with our door, and they're all synced into the county building. But the county and the sheriff's department want to install some new glass as well. So I'm sure they could get you a contact. If you guys hit me up tomorrow, I could probably shoot you somebody's name.
That would be great.
You'll have Tammy get in touch and, yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be good, Mike, thank you. There you go. Okay. Public comment.
Stand up.
If you would, please introduce yourself to the board. And
I'm James Carnes. I live at 905 Township. And my question was if there's been any comment from the county or the city on getting a Township upgraded or paved. We had a situation a few months ago you guys were aware of where the road got pretty broken down and they threw some gravel on it, but they were concerned with the time of year and the weather. I wondered if there was any new communication on that. Thank you.
has there been anything at the road commission meetings regarding that?
Not the last meeting that I was at was.
Because I know after we had spoken, and I don't remember how long ago that was last fall, wasn't it? Late fall, Jim?
Yeah, I think it was just a couple months ago.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I was out there and took a look at it. It was in really bad shape. And actually, the day that I went out there, the county was putting gravel down. And then I had discussions with Mark Solden that same day about it. And, you know, his take on it basically is with city trucks in and out of there, they're the ones tearing it up. And of course, I'm not going to call it a gravel road because it's not really a gravel road. Depending on the time of the year, it's a dirt, mud road with maybe some stone in it. But I guess my thought would be whether the township would want to take that on as a project. I know we've got two big projects for this upcoming construction season, and I told Mark Solden this, and I think I told Jim this, that I would be in favor of supporting the township supporting the improvement of the first roughly 600 feet of the road so he can get to his driveway, and let the city worry about the rest of it. And I think if it were, whether it were paved or done, you know, completely redone as a gravel road, I think even that would be a big improvement. But I think that's something that, you know, it's got to come back to the board, Jim. And I think what, you know, probably the next step would be to have you and Brian take a look at it as well. I know you're familiar with it, and I got to believe Brian is too.
Whose turn is it to go to the road commission? Tom's? Okay.
Maybe bring that up and ask if they have any plans for any improvement of a Township road, or at least just the first part of a Township road. And Mark will know what you're talking about, I think. It's, like I said, I've had that discussion with him.
Bring it up.
Good. Yes, Jim.
If I might bring up one other thing you may hit them up on is, you guys are familiar with the corners and the hills. If there's two vehicles coming on some of those corners, you can't see very well, especially if it's a city truck. So you might hit them up on the idea of it being a safety factor, that they get the road situated a little better, you know, in the valley and the curves down there.
That gate could probably be moved right up to that valley. Yep, and I'll allow Brian to get in on his property and you use your driveway.
Yeah,
Seeing as how Morton's now owns
everything else.
that other side, yeah.
Well, and that brings up another point of the property lines with the road easement. How a lot of the property owners on the north side own a strip of land on the south side of the road. And that's where the other guy has problems too.
I hate to give up any of that because right now it's a county road. I hate to abandon any kind of that county
purchased the strip between the road and my property.
The county did.
The county bought that, so they just own, instead of being 66 feet wide, they're out to like 80 feet. Lines on an angle, but
Well, Ryan had the same problem with his property, and he acquired the title to that, so.
same idea. But I don't think, they didn't go down that far, so.
No, the road commission evidently did, that Ryan had just do that recently.
Yeah. So it's, you know, whatever you can find out.
We will take a look at it, Jim. Any other public comment? Okay, anything else to come before the board tonight? Dean, other than your new need, do you have anything else new for us?
Pretty soon I'll be dancing.
Pardon me?
Pretty soon I'll be dancing.
Oh, okay.
No, I recommend to anybody that has the pain I had.
Yeah.
get it done.
That's where I'm at, but I gotta wait till 2024 to get mine done, so. Glad you're up and around though.
Well, I'm glad this one.
I can't speak for Marlene though.
Well, she's a good girl. She
Yeah.
really takes care of her husband.
Oh,
That's good.
paid commercial, eh?
Okay, Dale, you got anything tonight?
Well, the only thing I got is, since you're on the topic of roads, Red Apple from Fox Farm to County Line is really falling apart this winter. I don't know what's happened to it, but there's big chunks like this coming out of it. I don't know, the big truck is getting, we're gonna have to look at that for a project at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know why that part's, well, I didn't know why, but
Well,
the
yeah.
big trucks.
Heavy construction equipment will do that. And even north of Fox Farm, there's a lot of breakdown in the shoulders.
There is now, huh? See, I don't go that way that much.
Yeah. Yeah, there is, especially in certain sections of it, so.
A
Yeah.
future project of some kind.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be a big one. That'll be a costly one, but it's, yeah. But, you know, after this year, when we get Fox Farm done, that will have been done from the highway all the way to the end.
Right.
And then Wildwood will be done, and
Yeah.
Maple, the worst section of Maple will be done by the end of this construction
We're
season.
making
So,
headway, that's for sure.
yeah, yeah.
So that's all I got.
Shirley?
The only thing I want to say is I had a woman call me today, who lives on 28th Street, called me about some tax issues which I dealt with her on, but at the end of the conversation, she told me that she just wanted to say that anytime she's called anybody here at the township for questions or things, she's really impressed on how fast people get back to her. Usually it's within a couple hours at the most, and she said, I've been in a lot of places, and I've had a lot of difficulties, you know, getting information and getting people to call me back, so I just want to say what a great job you're doing. So, passing that on.
Well, that's good to hear. Thank you. Tom?
Nothing.
Okay, and I do not have anything else, so
I'll make a
Accept the
motion
motion.
that we end this meeting.
I'll second.
motion by Dean Cruz, second by Kalinowski to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.